So I just finished watching, I think it's called Nichijou. I'm not positive if I'm probably butchering that, but it goes by the name My Ordinary Life in English. And it's so confusing. It is so confusing. But I love it. So the show focuses on everyone. Anyone that appears in this show likely has their own plot throughout the series. It's a 26, I'm pretty sure 26, either 24 or 26, but I'm pretty sure 26 long season, which is likely going to be the only release because I was just looking it up online and it apparently has not sold well in Japan. So unfortunately, it's likely not going to be getting a season 2. Which it ends in a way that I'm not I'm not I'm not like mad that it ended where it did, because where it ended was really nice and it did seem to wrap a lot of things up. So I'm not too unhappy if it doesn't get a second season, especially since the show itself, right as it is right now, handles everything pretty well. It handles being a confusing mess very, very well. If it had each episode is like Azumanga Daioh or Squid Girl in a way, where many random things are going on, little random bits are happening throughout this town everywhere. The thing about this show, every little thing is exaggerated to the umpteenth level. Like, seriously, everything is over-exaggerated as all hell. And you get used to it. Either you get used to it or you just stop watching because it's not going to change. My first time watching this first episode of this show, I was like, what just happened? What just happened? And the only thing that happened was some people went to school, some people went on their day-to-day lives. That's all that happened. That's all that happens throughout the entire show. The thing is, it over-exaggerates everything so much that every minute thing feels big. And you either like this humor or you don't. And I caught on really fast, and I really started liking it, honestly. I can recommend this show to people, not people who are on the edge of, on borderline insane, but I can recommend this to normal people. It's got some really, really cute moments. It's got some really, really funny laughs. But then again, there are moments where you will be going, I don't get it. I don't know if it's a cultural gap or anything, or if it's just humor that would be found funny in Japan that I'm not getting because I'm in America or anything. But a lot of it I just didn't get. I just didn't understand some of the humor. But what I did understand, I was laughing really, really hard. And they handle themselves a lot better in the second half of this season than they do in the first half, I believe, because the first half is just setting up what the show's like. And it's just like, okay, this is a show about everything being over-exaggerated. And it takes, I think, the first, 12, maybe 13, somewhere around there, amount of episodes before you finally get into any coherent plot. Which that may be a turn off for some people. You might not like the series based on that description, but if you stick around with it, it does get really enjoyable, especially the primary characters. I'm going to say primary instead of main, because I think of main characters as people who are in the show often. Everyone's in this show all the time. Everybody. Even characters you think are like small characters are in this show long enough to be called main characters. So I'm going to say the primary characters, as in these are the characters that gain the most focus on in the show. There are 3 girls who are going to this high school. If I can remember all their names, there's Yuko, Mia, and I want to say Mio, but I'm not positive about that one. That one I'm probably wrong. Yeah, I'm likely wrong on that one. There's brunette, I think black hair, either that or really dark brunette, and blue hair, obviously. The main focus is those 3, and then there's another group with a little kid named the Professor. She's a little girl who is like apparently a technological marvel. She creates a robot that's almost identical to a human, other than the fact that it's got a giant like twist screw in the back of her. So that's the Professor and Nano. Nano's the robot. And they eventually get a cat, and the Professor makes a scarf that can translate the cat's language into English, named Sakamoto. And it's about the show's primary focus, when it gets to a primary focus, is these 2 groups of 3 people, or people and cat, and then eventually how they come together to make one group, pretty much. Because Nano is, if I had to say anything, Nano is probably the character that the show's title, My Ordinary Life, is for. Because she's a robot, she wants to be human, she wants to be as human as she can be. She doesn't like the fact there's this big old screw behind her because she doesn't want people to know she's a robot. She wants to have a normal human life. And about halfway through the series, she finally gets her wish and goes to high school, where she ends up meeting the 3 girls, Yuko, not Mio, but she ends up going to the high school with them, meeting them. That's how those 2 groups pretty much combine. And all the shenanigans that are going on all around eventually lead back to this group. For the most part. That's pretty contradictory, but that's this show. And I think Nano might be the primary quote-unquote focus of the show, because she is the character that wants an ordinary life, yet nothing is ordinary. Nothing is. Ever. When she gets into this ordinary life that she's been wanting to get into, it's not ordinary at all. And she finds that out, and by the end of the show, she comes to terms with it. Like, this ordinary life is not ordinary. Which, if this show is trying to say anything, it's likely trying to say that an ordinary life is not ordinary. There's always something that'll make a life special. And Nano figures this out, and she comes to terms with it and accepts herself and all that, and that's really nice. It's nice. There's not a lot I can say right now except for what I've just said, because this show is so weird. It's like if you took all the moments in Azumanga Daioh that didn't make any sense, and then made an entire show based on that, and then times a billion, and you have the show, and it's really enjoyable. I really, really liked it, and I don't really know why. That's the weirdest part. I don't know why I like this show so much. But I do. The characters are adorable. The characters are likable. I don't think there's a single not likable character in this show. Every character that I've seen, at least from my point of view, I've liked in one way or another. They've all had good moments to them. And the show's about these characters interacting in their day-to-day lives, and it handles it so well. I know you're probably getting tired of hearing this big old spiel every single initial impressions, but I really, really liked this show, and I can highly recommend it. I'm sorry I'm not finding shows that I don't like. Usually when I see something that doesn't look interesting to me, I don't watch it. So this is a show where I give my initial feelings on a series or on a movie, and I've so far liked all the ones, and this might just be one of the best ones, except for Mysterious Girlfriend X, but that's for entirely different reasons. This might just be my favorite that I've done for this show, and it's also the weirdest show I've ever watched in my entire life. I'm going to say, put my finger down right now, this is the weirdest show I've ever seen in my entire life. I've seen some pretty weird shows. This one takes the cake from every single one of them combined. If you like weird, watch it. I'm going to be putting the link in the description, that way, obviously, as I always do. Give it a watch if you're just into something nice. If you're just into something random and spontaneous and nice, give this show a watch. Because it's a shame it hasn't done well. It hasn't sold well. That makes me sad because it's really good at being random. It's not random in an annoying way. It's random in a way that suits the show. And that can be really tricky to pull off. So yeah, if you just want a nice little anime, there's no ecchi whatsoever, there's no fan service whatsoever at all. And all the characters are just random and likable. So if you're into something like that, if you want to take a look at it, go ahead, links down there. I'll probably put an annotation somewhere up here saying that, hey, I put the link down there, despite the fact that I'm also going to mention it at the end of the episode in the credits. Go watch this show if you have any interest whatsoever in it. Watch the first episode. I think my favorite characters are the Professor, Sakamoto the cat, and Nano. I think they're my favorite because of the way they interact with each other and how nice their little setting at their home is. And just go watch it. It's really good. I think that's all I got for right now. And this is being recorded the Sunday that I'm uploading Season 2 of Squid Girl. So I'm going to try and find something that I can watch. I'm going to try and find a longer anime that I can watch. This one was 26 episodes, but I've been watching this one for a few months now. I just finished it today. So I'm going to try and find something like... I've been thinking Sword Art Online. I might take a look at the first season of that. I'm not sure if there's multiple seasons of it, but I'm going to likely take a look at that. That might be on next. If not, it'll probably be the one after. Go check out this show. It's adorable, and it's hilarious and random.
Take